lot of new things going on with Office Depot. Can you give us a little bit of a sense of some of that?
Sure, absolutely, Andrew. As many of you know, we're an omni-channel retailer, right? We provide end-to-end business solutions and services for our customers. We've recently launched our Workotomy platform that allows personalized business service that leverages our almost 1,400 retail locations and our website. And then when you go into the store, you get one-to-one service with business solutions professionals.
We're here at NRF, and I know it's a lot of what you do from a tech side, but can you talk a little bit about how important data is across all those different areas?
Sure. Especially during this transition, as we roll out these new products, data is central to everything we do. We don't make any decisions without the data to back what it is. We use data for predicting what our customers want, and we also use that same data to predict if what we're offering them is actually working.
Can you share a little bit more on sort of who within the organization relies on that data and give us an idea of like what form the data takes on a day-to-day basis?
So at Office Depot, believe it or not, we have 6,402 active users every single day of our data warehouse.
Awesome.
So literally, it's every Office Depot employee, so that means our stores are using it to make decisions about planning, they're using it to determine what their goals are for the day, our sales force uses the data to understand maybe a customer business review, our marketing department uses it to determine where they want to do their spend, our supply chain makes sure we're delivering the perfect order on time, IT, we use it to make sure we're delivering projects within budget, so it's literally every single employee at Office Depot is using our data to make decisions.
To understand how it spans the whole business. You're doing work with Snowflake. Can you talk a little bit about what some of the challenges were prior to working with Snowflake?
Sure. So we came from an on-prem environment, and what that means is we had a single set of hardware that was finite when we purchased it. And what happened over time is we used up the capacity that we had. So what would happen during peak windows, especially in the morning when things are busy, or maybe during seasonal periods when there's more data coming in, we found that the system would use the complete capacity of the system, and we would start queuing requests. So from an end user perspective, they would be expecting a query to come back, but they'd actually be waiting in a line behind the scenes for their question to get answered, and they would perceive that the system wasn't working. So we really had a capacity issue.
Got it.
And then the other challenge we were having with the advent of the Internet of Things, more sensor data coming in, we really didn't have an environment that was, one, able to handle that type of semi-structured data, but let alone handle the scale. So our system before was around 50 terabytes max capacity. We started to get requests requesting petabytes of data, and we didn't really have a technology that was economical to expand in that way.
We looked at a lot of the major players, and one of the things we saw is it looked like they were doing a lift and shift of their on-prem solution and just moving that into the cloud, and they really didn't change much there, right? Where we saw the benefit with Snowflake was, hey, it was pay as you go, and you separate your compute from storage, which is a big benefit in our eyes. The biggest driver was the separate of compute and storage, right? And that you pay as you go. Those are game-changing concepts in the data warehouse space, right? So those were really the biggest drivers. There are ancillary functions in Snowflake that are really helping us out. The zero-copy cloning, the time travel, data sharing. Those are all add-ons that are really enabling our business.
And anything you can expand on there in terms of how Snowflake has made your job easier day to day, or how it's helped you?
Absolutely. I don't focus on managing an environment anymore. I focus on delivering products and delivering data to our end users so that they can do the analysis to drive our business. We are delivering insights faster. All right. We are putting data in our end users' hands, in our data science, data analysts' hands faster.
And what we found is that the traditional retailers took their on-prem software and they simply installed it in the cloud. So the paradigm of how the software worked didn't really change. You purchased a certain amount of capacity, and then that's what you were left with, and if you wanted more, you had to renegotiate and procure and redistribute data. Some of the other products built specifically for the cloud, the challenges they had is they didn't have that full database support that we were used to from working with our traditional MPP provider. So yes, they were elastic, they could scale, they could handle big types of data, but maybe managing the environment was more challenging. The SQL support wasn't quite there. It was really only one vendor that we found, which was Snowflake, that was actually built for the cloud that also solved all the traditional needs in a massive MPP. So we had looked at things like Hadoop. Maybe as we got these bigger use cases, let's stand up another environment. And what we found is by spreading the data all over the place, now all of a sudden our data scientists and our business users had to wrangle data from multiple systems and then try to tie it back together. And what that led to is them spending most of their time putting data together rather than doing the data science that they needed to do.
Yeah.
So the paradigm shift is put everything back in a single system that can handle all types of data and let them focus on doing their job, which is the data science and the analytics. One of the things that Snowflake does that makes it easy for me is I no longer, when a project comes in, have to worry about that additional procurement of hardware and a renegotiation period with a vendor. So I'm able to incrementally add the data as I need it and pay for it only when I use it. And when I run those queries, I'm able to pay for the data only then pay for the compute then as well. And what that helps with is you can have an idea and you can go for it and you can try the idea out, and if you don't like it, you haven't invested in this system that you need to then pull back on. So the cost, the entry cost is very easy to work with. Working with Snowflake allows Office Depot to really focus on the analytics and actually doing the math. Like in IT, I no longer have to say no. I can just say yes, we can do that, and then obviously, because now we can handle semi-structured and new types of data, bigger volumes, it's opened up a whole new world of use cases that our data scientists are looking at and really gaining new insight.
So we recently implemented a space planning, pricing, and assortment optimization called Optimera, and we did that in a cross-cloud environment. So we're running in one cloud. We're able to share the data using Snowflake's Sharehouse functionality into an Azure cloud. All right, and do the machine learning and AI processing there, and then bring the data back. All right, and that cross-cloud functionality and that ease of use was important to us to deliver that project quickly. So recently we had a request to bring in our Google ad data. All right, and that was 10 terabytes of data. Our on-prem solution, we couldn't have done that easily. We don't have 10 terabytes laying around. With Snowflake, we're able to bring that data in quickly and easily, leveraging the semi-structured data support that Snowflake has. All right, we were able to bring that in quickly, integrate it with our structured data, which allowed our analysts to join that with our cleansed customer data and our cleansed sales data. Data is essential to our business. It's used throughout our organization. I mean, I can't think of a business unit that doesn't use it. Marketing uses it to perform their customer analysis. Our retail organization uses it to manage how our stores are doing, right? We use it to manage our websites, right? So it's pervasive in our environment. Our marketing analysts are using the data so they can see how we can better spend our marketing money. As most retailers have and most companies, there's a finite budget there, right? So we're using that to manage our marketing spend. Also, our e-commerce site, right? It plays into our marketing as well. What ads are we doing, et cetera, right? So we use data to drive those decisions.
And we can just take the process that already ran before, and before it was on a big ecosystem and you didn't really know what it cost to run, we can now say, oh, the coupon affinity process actually costs $6 a week to run. So when we're planning out projects, rather than a big box of money for an infrastructure that's peanut buttered, we're able to actually say this process will cost the company this much and really associate costs. Sure. Our data matches down to the general ledger in our table. So this gives finance unprecedented detail on what rolls up to their different subledgers and eventually the general ledger when they're making their financial decisions. So it allows us to do all kinds of things by having the profitability spread to an order transaction that allows merchants to do, using the same finance data, to do merchant and product profitability, customer profitability for our contract department, and those types of analytics. The marketing team will use all the different types of data to really understand the 360 of the customer. So by having clickstream available, we can understand what that customer is doing, what they're browsing, what they're looking at, maybe what they're abandoning, as well as tying that same data to what's happening in the store, the offline data. We can see how those things relate. Did they look at it online and maybe see that product and then go purchase the product in the store? Connections that we weren't able to make in the past. Right, so in that cloud sharing application, they're using that same data to determine which products are optimal to put on the shelf, what are the optimal prices compared to our competitors, maybe remixing up our assortment. So that's how our merchandising is.
Interesting.
I see Snowflake really enabling Office Depot to bring in this mass amounts of data and really use the machine learning technologies that are out there to help deliver operational value immediately at the point of transaction.
So what's next is we continue to roll out products and services at Office Depot and transform our business. We have a single location that all of the data needed that comes from that application can be absorbed and combined with all the other data, and I think we'll continue to see that to grow. Additionally, because we're in the cloud and we're surrounded by basically the open marketplace of tools available, you're going to see Office Depot quickly be able to try out tools, try out new techniques in machine learning and artificial intelligence, and really see what works. And that's a real advantage of being up in the cloud.
Awesome. Thank you very much for giving us such a detailed background. Very interesting.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Tim. All right, thanks everybody.